release your sound. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Sound the alarm and release your sound. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Sound the alarm and release your sound. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Oh, na, 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 na. Let it rise up now. Let healing arise now. Hey, let breakthrough arise now. Hey, let the power arise now. Say, oh, na, 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 na. Come on, sound the alarm, go. Oh, now, oh, now, oh, now. Break forth now. Break forth now. Release your sound in the atmosphere. 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 Come on, lift it up. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Yeah. Sound in the atmosphere. Yeah. Yeah. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Come on, shout the out. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Release it now. Release it now. Sound in the atmosphere. Let it come from your belly. Release your sound in the atmosphere. Release your sound in the atmosphere. We're ready for change. We're ready for change. Sound in the atmosphere. Sound in the atmosphere. The Steelers are ready.
Searched all over, couldn't find nobody greater than the Lord. Is that your testimony? Father, we love you. We adore you, Jesus. There's nobody greater than you. If you know it, let's sing it all over the world. Here we go. Climbed to this mountain, looked all around, couldn't find no. Went down into the deepest valley. Looked all around down there, couldn't find nobody. Oh no. I went across the deep blue
Mic check. Turn that down. Mic check, mic check. Turn it down. Mic check, mic check. 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 Mic check, mic check.
Y'all know for the next 2 or 3 minutes, all I'm gonna be doing is jumping around. Not the sky, not a chance that you come on. I'm not lucky. Come on, lift it up, say. Come on, say. Put a big smile on your face and encourage yourself. I'm not lucky, I'm lucky. No, no, say.
If I had only known the last time would be the last time, I would have put off all the things I had to do. I would have stayed a little longer, held on a little tighter. Now what I'd give for one more day with you. Cause there's a wound here in my heart where something's missing, and they tell me that it's gonna heal with time. But I know you're in a place where all your wounds have been erased, and knowing yours are healed is healing mine. The only scars in heaven that won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now. I know the road you walked was anything but easy. You picked up your share of scars along the way. Oh, but now you're standing in the sun. You fought your fight and your race is run. The pain is all a million miles away. The only scars in heaven that won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven, yeah, are on the hands that hold you now. Not a day goes by that I don't see you. You live on in all the better parts of me. Until I'm standing with you in the sun, I'll fight this fight in this race I'll run, until I finally see what you can see. Oh, the only scars in heaven that won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, and even as the tears fall down, is that the only scars in heaven are on the hands that hold you now.
I pray you'll be alright, and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer.
I'm going to begin with a scripture, and especially since you were so loud, this will fit perfectly. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, and that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask you now to be with us once again, to give us the light and the wisdom and the memories. In Jesus' name, amen. We will now have the second song requested by the family.
I know
At this time, we're going to ask if you feel comfortable to share your reflections of Andre. And this is difficult because somebody always has to go first. Well, somebody volunteered to go first today to give you time to think about your reflections, your thoughts, what you'd like to say. So at this time, I want to invite Uncle Dan to please come forward.
I have a hard assignment to do today. So, I'm going to pull a little Henri here. For you who know him, Henri, he was junior to our family. Can you hear me okay? Okay, thank you. How about now? Okay. I will say there was a new pastor, and he had a congregation. He was new, and his mentor called him one day and said, "How are things going?" He said, "Oh, I'm doing a miserable job." He says, I get there, and then pretty soon I see people's heads start nodding off. They start falling asleep. And he said, "Well, you should just start, and when you see that happen, when you see them heads start nodding, you stop and you tell them a joke." He said, "Oh, I'm terrible at jokes. I can't remember the punchline. My timing's bad. I'll say something wrong." He said, "No, let me tell you, I'll tell you a joke that'll work for you." He says, "What you do is when you see the head start nodding, you stop and you say, 'I have to stop here. I have a confession to make. Last night, I was in the arms of another woman. It wasn't my wife. It was my mother." And he says, okay, I can do that. So the next Sunday, he's at church. He's given this sermon. And he sees the head start nodding. And he says, "I have to stop here and make a confession." He said, "I can't go on until I tell you all that last night I was in the arms of another woman. It wasn't my wife. And now I can't remember who it was." So I tell you that because I do have a hard assignment here. In fact, this is really, really hard. And so I'm going to use some phrases that I want to tell you about. I'm going to say this is awkward for me. This is hard for me. I'm not sure how to do this. Because for a moment, we are all the family that loved Junior. And when you're family, you can be honest with one another. You can share your feelings. So my assignment is to address the elephant that's in this room, that Henri took his own life. And the family wants me to address that because there's two things here. First of all, they are so grateful to all of you who love Junior, who shared your life with him, and who received from him. Your memories that you have that are bringing tears to your ears right now, to your eyes right now, because of the impact he had. And that is what he leaves behind for us to carry with us. If you loved him, you are hurting. And that hurt tells you how much you loved him. We can't make those feelings go away. We can't control our feelings. So, my sister, Nancy Lynn, his mother, it's her youngest son. I lost my oldest daughter. It's nothing any parent, we know that phrase, no parent should outlive their own children. A friend shouldn't outlive a friend. None of us want to go through that. And I'm coming to this part. This is the hard part. What they don't want is anybody else to feel these feelings. Now, I think the best thing that could have been said is all of you, like all of us, probably felt shocked and surprised. This was not Junior. This was not him. How could this happen? And so, in this room right here, it would take 500 times this rate, maybe even 1,000 times more than this people, before we'd find one person in there that might commit suicide in their life. So the chance that any of you are going to do this is pretty slim. But I'm supposed to address the fact that don't do it. That's what it comes down to. Don't do it. Don't put other people through this. Don't let them feel this way. Now, that's easy to say, don't do it. Henri would have never have done this. It never would have happened. And so, and where I'm going with this, let me first say, Nancy's, my sister, Henri's mom, her first reaction in unbelief, shock, and the next reaction is the love she had for the people who cared for him, is nobody should have any guilt about this. Because with a suicide, there is guilt. And when I said you cannot control your emotions, you don't get to pick and choose. We all feel a little guilty about, could I? And there is one word that can be so negative and so destructive, if. And in a suicide, we always add, if only I could have, if only this could have happened, if only, if, and you can beat yourself to death with ifs that will not change anything other than drag you down. That's all it does. There is no changing it. There's only dealing with it. And the way you deal with it is you look to the future, because Henri, appreciate the way put his eulogy phrased about I. And so for a moment, I'd like to continue that. I came to a moment where I couldn't see a way out. I didn't want to die, but I didn't know how to live on. I didn't know how to go on, because I had tunnel vision all of a sudden. I've heard people say that those who commit suicide, it's a selfish act because they're not thinking of anybody else. It's not a selfish act. That's not true. But the fact that I wasn't thinking about anybody else is true, because I had tunnel vision. I could only see forward, and I could not see a way out. I didn't think there was any way. I didn't think I could bear this anymore. I couldn't stand it, and it was so bad that I had to end it. It hurt so much, I had to end it. I did that. But if I had waited a little bit longer, I would have found out I could have survived that. I would have found out that there is only one thing in my life that could have killed me. I don't know what that was going to be. Could have been disease, could have been a car accident, could have been a plane crash, could have been a meteor. It could have been a lot of other things, but there was only one thing in my life that would have killed me. Everything else in my life, I would have survived, as you do, and you can. So this is the message. I never imagined that I would be at that point. I never thought that I could ever be that way. I laughed most of the time. I enjoyed life. I told jokes. I loved. And I never imagined that I could ever get to that point. So I want to share that with you, because you can never imagine you being that way. So if you get to that point, please remember me. This is what Henri would want to tell you. Please remember me, and please recognize you can get through it. And the next thing, because most of you won't get to that point, most of us won't. But most of us will know somebody. Most of us will know somebody that will get to that point, and they won't have heard this before. And when I say hear it before, because if I said, how can you take your own life? We all know how we could do that, because we're exposed to it all the time. We see this, we see that, we see it on TV. We all know how we could take our own lives. There's different ways. What we don't see is the people that didn't. What we don't see is how people got through it. So that's what Henri wants you to hear. If he were here, there is a way. You can get through it. You have to know that you will survive this, just like everything else in your life, until something else takes your life. Now, for survivors, could you have done something different? We all could have done something different. We choose every day. You chose to be here today to share this burden with everybody else, this lack of Henri in our life, this hole that's there now. We share that. We share that with one another. And so you have heard now, it is possible to get to a situation that you can't imagine. It is possible to get there. If that happens, try to remember this. Try to remember if you can hold on just a little bit longer. It feels like you can't stand it. But if you can hold on just a little bit longer, you will get through. I want to tell you something. I wasn't planning on this, but I almost drowned once. I was rafting with these kids. I got thrown out. I didn't have the life jacket. The water took me down there. I thought I was going to drown. I came to the surface, grabbed a gulp of air, and something sucked me under. And what was happening was doesn't matter. What I want to tell you is there was a point where I have to breathe. I know I'm going to breathe in water. I know that's going to kill me, but I have to breathe. I can't not breathe 1 second longer. I'm going to do it. And even my mind is telling me, well, you're with a bunch of Boy Scouts, 6 minutes till there's brain damage, somebody can revive you. And just trying to hold on, I just can't, I'm going to do it. And I popped to the top again. Everybody else is looking for me, shocked. There he is. They thought, for sure, I was gone. 1 more second. Hang on 1 more second. 1 more. You can hang on 1 more second. You can do that. So that's what Henri would want to say. The other thing, what can you do? Because it's more likely you can influence that if. So, how do we do that? First of all, I forgot to say something. When I said it's awkward, it's hard. That's the other thing. When you're in that situation, the only way out, you got to have somebody else. Now, my recommendation is Jesus Christ. Some of you won't have Jesus Christ in your life. But I love a saying that a friend of mine says, 2 people can do anything as long as one of them is Jesus Christ. So, the other thing is a friend. If you're in that situation, you got to call a friend, and those are the phrases you use. This is awkward. This is hard. I am feeling so down. I'm thinking about this. Because a friend is somebody you can share with, and they would want you to do that. The last thing is, if anybody does that with you, you'd always take it seriously if somebody says that. Now, to start this off for you, I've carried the message from the family to you. Now I want to tell you something else. I knew Henri the most as a young boy, young child. Those are my vast memories of Henri Jr., this blonde little boy that was still happy and everything else. And he brought joy and happiness to all our lives. He was fun. And that's, as we turn this time over to you now, please share your memories, because you knew Henri in ways we didn't know Henri. We all had different parts of his life. So please share them with us, that we can have these to add to the ones that we have. And now it's open mic for everybody. Thank you.
So now, who's going to go second? Come up, please.
This is kind of awkward. I don't know. Everything checking out over there for you guys in the back? Perfect. For those of you who don't know, I am Alexis. I am Henri's niece, and he was my best friend. He played so many roles in each of our lives, and he played them well. He had the biggest heart, maybe not as big as his head, but it was still pretty big. And he was the Spider-Man of our family. He kept us webbed together, even with the threads that we couldn't see. And he loved us all. We used to work out a lot together because he always wanted big guns. But one of the things he would say to me is, just breathe. While you're working out, just breathe. And I wanted to carry that message over to everyone, because this is a perfect example to just breathe.
Who's going to go next?
Howdy. I'm Trenda, if you guys don't know me. I'm the funnier, cuter, all right, version of who we're here to celebrate. Let's be realistic here. My little brother, he was awesome. You know, like she said, had a big heart, not as big as his hands either, because those suckers like bananas, you know. But he was a good boy, and I think he was just sad at the moment, you know what I mean? Like everybody saying, if you knew him, you loved him, you know, super funny, super nice kid. So I think I have way too many stories just to sit here and tell you guys them, but I love that little boy for sure. And I mean, it sucks that he's not here, but for 24 years he was, you know, making memories with everybody. You know, help you out when you needed it. Gentle boy, very gentle boy. As big as he was a sensitive kid. Unless you played Xbox with him, I don't know if anybody ever did, but that turned him a little, you know what I mean? But outside of that, he was a good boy, you know. But he would always give you these big old hugs, and I think that's what I'm gonna miss the most. So, rats, you know what I mean? But I think we're here to celebrate him, you know what I mean? Like it's not for us to be sad. It's for him to know that we're all here, you know what I mean? We all came together for this boy, because he would keep, like she said, he would keep you guys together, you know? Didn't matter who. He would always try to talk to everybody, and that's just who he was. So I think that we should be here to celebrate him and how great he was, because he was a good boy. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I'm John, his oldest brother, and my memories of Junior is just amazing. When he was in high school, he started taking auto class, and he'll call me up, "Hey, brother, Mom's car's broke down again. What do you think it could be?" And all the way up to just a couple months ago, he was FaceTiming me. "My friend wants to get this done, and he keeps throwing parts at it, and I just don't know." I was like, tell him what to do. He goes, "Are you sure?" I said, you don't know me yet?" But that boy had a heart of gold. Everywhere I see friends, family from all around this place, and I'm going to miss him. And thank you guys for all showing up. That boy's amazing. Thank you.
So, those of you who don't know me, I was Junior's little nephew. We grew up together as like brothers with Alexis over there. And, you know, he was a little menace as a kid. He always messed with me. He liked to put me under buckets and sit on it. And then Lexi would join in on the fun, and they'd chase me around the house. And I guess just what I remember of him the most is just his smile. He was always having fun no matter what he did. Everything. Like, even if he was upset, he'd still like give a big old smile and a big old hug at the end, just like Trinda was saying. The last time I saw him, he gave me this one that like broke my back, and it was a habit of his. But just everyone, please just check in on your loved ones, okay?
Two more. Anyone?
So I wasn't planning on saying anything today, but I think it's important that I do say something. That I am not the dad joke champ. I'm sorry. I think Henri, he by far is the champ. Henri reminded me a lot of my brother. He just was hilarious. Everything he said was just witty, on point. He always kept the laughter going. And that's the one thing that I'm going to remember about him the most. He was one of the funniest guys I knew. And Henri, you are the champ. We love you.
Thank you. We're going to close this part with Sharon. Sharon, would you please come up?
I'm not like the rest of y'all. I got to write everything down. I want to say thank you all for coming to help us celebrate the life of my brother. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sharon, and I'm the coolest older sister he ever could have had. Today, we gather to remember and honor the life of my baby brother. It is with heavy hearts and immense sadness that we bid farewell to someone so young who has left us too soon. He was 24 years, 2 months, and 17 days, and his life was cut tragically short. And this is a pain that we will not fully comprehend. As I stand before you today, reflecting on the memories I share with Henri, I am reminded of his vibrant spirit and his infectious laughter. He had an uncanny ability to bring joy to any room he entered. His radiant smile could light up even the darkest of days, and his compassionate nature touched the lives of all who knew him. When Henri laughed, you couldn't help but laugh with him, even if you didn't understand what the heck he was laughing about. He was so smart, and he was obviously handsome. But the best part of Henri was the amount of love that he had for others. He loved completely. He loved with his whole entire heart. Even people that I didn't appreciate myself. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and he felt every emotion deeply. He took everything good from everybody he knew, and he incorporated it into who he was. He was silly and helpful and courageous and kind. He was everything that we all want to be. And he was all of those things naturally. Henri was the brightest star. My brother possessed a remarkable talent for making people feel seen and heard. He had a genuine interest in others and an empathetic heart that knew no bounds. He was obviously a friend to many. He was always ready to lend a listening ear or sit and have a conversation. Sometimes he used some words I didn't understand, but that's the age difference. His kindness and compassion were immeasurable. I want to touch briefly on something that my Uncle Dan did. Sometimes the hardest words to say are, I feel sad. I feel lost. I feel like I can't go on. But I'm telling you right now, it's harder to stand up here and say, I wish. I am encouraging each one of you, if you feel how my brother felt, you wait 1 minute and you reach out so that nobody has to stand up here and say, I wish. The end of Henri's life does not reflect who he was. He had dreams and aspirations and passions that burned brightly within him. I spoke with his dean quite a few times. Henri was leading a research group, and he was working on cutting-edge science developments for the COVID virus, as well as trying to patent an app for your phone for the same disease. He was 1 semester away from graduating at CSU with his BS in chemistry. And his dean informed me that he had never seen another student carry a full semester of strictly chemistry classes. He reiterated to me just how smart and special Henri was. And honestly, in my mind, I'm like, well, duh. Have you met Henri? We all have been incredibly blessed to have been able to have Henri in our lives. From his peers to his professors and his friends and his coworkers, but especially to his family and the people that he called his family. While we grapple with the immense pain of the loss of him, it is crucial that we support each other. Let us remember my brother for the joy that he brought into our lives and the impact he had on those around him. In the face of tragedy, we must find strength in our shared memories and the love that will forever bind us together. To my dear brother, though your time with us was brief, the mark you left on our hearts and souls will forever endure. Your absence is deeply felt, but we choose to celebrate the beautiful life you lived rather than dwell on the circumstances of your passing. I miss you so much. I miss the late night calls and texts and randomly hearing your key in my door because you always had a copy. Your silly little poses and the faces that you made and your big bear hugs. May you find peace and solace in the next chapter of your journey. As we say our final goodbyes, let us carry my brother's memory in our hearts, cherishing the moments that we all have shared and the love that we all hold for him. May his spirit find eternal tranquility, and may his legacy inspire us to be more compassionate, more understanding, and supportive of one another. I hope we can all love the way that Henri did, without boundaries and without concern for what anybody else thought. separate from that. My brother loved each one of you from the time he was little until his last day. I'm so grateful to see faces that have been with him for years. People have traveled far and wide to share his last moments with us and as a family. We are grateful for you to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. At this time, we're going to have a video in Andre's honor.
A bright sunrise will contradict the heavy fall that weighs you down. In spite of all the funeral songs, the birds will make their joyful sounds. You wonder why the earth still moves. You wonder how you carry on. But you'll be okay on that first day when I'm gone. Dusk will come with fireflies and whippoorwill and crickets call, and every star will take its place in silvery gown and purple shawl. You'll lie down in our big bed, dread the dark and dread the dawn, but you'll be alright on that first night when I'm gone.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here but you're not, 'cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when I believed in forever and everything would stay the same. Now my heart feel like December when somebody say your name, 'cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Hey. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Hey, hey. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here but you're not, 'cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your.
If I cry, it just hurts so bad sometimes, 'cause every day it's sinking in, and I have to say goodbye all over again. You know, I bet it feels good to have the weight of this world off your shoulders, and now I'm dreaming of the day when I'm finally there with you. Save a place for me, save a place for me. time. So instead I pray with every tear, and be thankful for the time I had you here. So you just save a place for me, save a place for me. I'll be there soon. I hope the days come easy and the moments pass slow, and each road leads you where you wanna go. And if you're faced with a choice and you have to choose, I hope you choose the one that means the most to you. And if one door opens to another door closed, I hope you keep on walking till you find the window. If it's cold outside, show the world the warmth of your smile. But more than anything, more than anything, my wish for you is that this life becomes all that you want it to. Your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is my wish. I hope you never look back, but you never forget all the... I know your life on earth was troubled, and only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. So go rest high on that mountain. The sun, your work on earth is done. Ooh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to. Oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of Greenland, red roses too.
I want to thank Uncle Dan for basically covering everything in my message to you. Some of it you're going to understand and from a deeper standpoint, but Dan hit on a lot of things that are very, very important. The loss of a loved one or friend is life's most stressful time. It's a period of mourning, it's a period of grief. And it's through this mourning and grief that we have to be so very, very careful. Everyone grieves from a different standpoint. Your reaction to grief could be a physical grief, an emotional grief, a social, or intellectual. The physical grief comes in forms of insomnia, loss of appetite, overeating, upset stomach, fatigue, headaches. It is actually your physical reaction to what you've just lost. The stress from grief also affects our immune system. We grieve so hard sometimes that it's a fact that people miss more work after the loss of a loved one or friend than any other time in their lives. It's because we physically feel the pain. The problem with a physical grief, and this is what I want to share with you most, is if we are not careful, the physical grief can take us over and become depression. In depression, the problem with this is we don't see it ourselves. We are slowly sucked into it. But the words I heard today, the people I heard talking in the foyer, just tells me that this is a tight-knit group. That if you see one of your friends or one of your family falling into depression, you will tell them. And if you've never thought to tell them before, you will tell them now. An example I like to use is many years ago, a mother came to me and she said, when I lost my husband, I went into physical grief and then into depression, but there was no one there to help me. She said, my life became this. I would get up every morning, feed my children, then just go to my room and cry. Then I'd feed them lunch, and then I'd feed them dinner, and then I'd put them to bed. And she said, I wouldn't even get in my own bed because that's where we laid together. I would just sit in a chair and grieve. Then she said, one day, the children came in and said, Mommy, come here. We want to show you something. She said, I'll be there in a minute. And she admitted to me she knew she wouldn't go. And pretty soon, the two children came in, each got a hand and pulled her into the living room and sat her down on the couch. And the little boy said, look, Mommy, I drew a castle. And there's Daddy inside the castle. And if you look, there's people all around the castle. You don't have to cry every day, Mommy. There are people with Daddy always. He's not alone. Little girl said, look, Mommy, I drew a castle. And look, there's chariots all around the castle. So anytime Daddy needs to go somewhere, all he has to do is get in a vehicle and go. You don't have to cry all the time. And she said she realized what had happened. So I want to say to each of you, friends and family, if you see one of your closest friends or a family member slipping, set them down and immediately speak to them. The emotional grief, the signs of this grief is despondency, it's crying, it's shock, it's disbelief, many times it's anger, anxiety, irritability. It just comes in many ways. In my personal opinion, the emotional grief is more difficult on men than it is women. And I say most men or most women. Because what happens in a grief like this, women bond together. They cry together. They share together. They talk together. They just come together. Where typically, men do the opposite. We were taught at a very young age to man up. Don't show your emotions. Don't let people know how you feel. Here's the problem. Whether you realize it or not, you will learn 90% of what you know your entire life the first 10 years of your life. When you think about that, that is a very scary thing. The way I like to describe it is this. When you're born, you're handed a toolbox. The first 10 years of your life, there are just thousands of tools thrown in that box. Now you've lost a friend or a family member. So what do? You reach in and you pull out the tool that people shared with you. Well, unfortunately, men too often got the wrong tool. We were told to man up. If you got the wrong tool, either as a man or a woman, what I recommend is you throw that tool away. Get rid of it. Men, cry. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to reach to another brother and just bawl your eyes out, or to your wife or to your friend. You need to allow that emotion to leave you. Many times as a counselor, people would come to me, as it was stated, and say, if I had only just, and that just could be, if I'd only just said that, something to the individual just before they passed, or if I wish I hadn't have said this because it was hurtful and I wish I could take it back. Well, if that follows you, honor Andre this way. If you said something to him, or if you wish you had said something to him, the next time you come to that fork in the road, just look to heaven and go, Andre, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to tell that person how I feel, or I'm going to withhold that comment because I don't want to hurt him. It'll be a time to honor him and his memory. The social reaction to grief is this. It's the gathering of family and friends. It could be any time. It's after this is over. It could be you run and just decide to have a party, or you come together, and all of a sudden memories just flow out of you. Many years ago at my church, I had a service for a jazz musician. I asked the same thing that I ask here. I said, would anyone like to share? My congregation or my church held roughly 300 people, and it was packed. The pews were full. There were people around. When I asked that question, I kid you not, over 2 hours later, I think everybody in that room has said something. It was amazing. At times, the entire room, everyone in there just roared in laughter as they shared stories. Other times, there was nothing but tears. See, it was socially the time to share. Which leads us to the intellectual grief. In my personal opinion, this is the most difficult way to grieve. The reason for the intellectual grief is this. Only two people are involved. You and Andre. Let me explain. You may be going through your day, working, driving down the road, I don't know what it'll be, and all of a sudden, a thought of Andre will come into your mind. Typically, as human beings, we don't like the pain, so we push it back. We don't want to deal with it. What I want to tell you is, in Andre's memory, do this. Remember this statement. As long as Andre is alive in you, he walks on this earth. Whatever feeling you have, whatever memory is going through your mind, stop what you're doing and embrace it with every ounce of energy that you have. You need to embrace him and hang on to him. You do not want to lose him. Remember the saying, and I know you've all heard this, as long as someone lives in your heart, they're alive forever. That is Andre living and breathing in your heart at that moment. Do not try to bury him twice. Keep him alive. Let him live through you. There was a couple from Evergreen that came to me. The story was this. Two young men and a young woman grew up together. They went through grade school, middle school, high school, friends all the time, went to college together, graduated, started a business together. One of them actually married the young lady. The single young man died at a very young age. When they came to me, they said they just could not get over his loss. So I said, talk to me, tell me something. And one of the things they said is they loved to listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan. But as soon as he died, they threw all the CDs away. They turned the radio off. So what I told them is I said, go home, turn on the music, and listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan every day. A few months later, they came back to me. And they said, you know, you're right. The first time we turned it on, we just sat and cried. The second time, the third time, the fourth time. And then one day we turned on Stevie Ray Vaughan, and one of us said to the other, do you remember where the three of us were when we heard that record for the first time? You see, they quit trying to bury him. They let him live. He brought joy to their life. What I hear about Andre, he brought joy to everybody in this room. Don't lose his joy because of this loss. Yes, I know it's painful. For those of you who are here, I want to tell you, I share your grief today. I know what it's like to lose a friend and a brother. What I want to say is, do not bury him twice. In the book of Job, Job tells us that, or the Bible tells us that Job lost everything he had in a matter of moments. It was all gone. Children, grandchildren, all his livestock, all his grain, everything was gone. At that point, Job had a choice. He could have turned to God or away from God. In that difficult time, Job chose to turn to God, and he survived. I'm telling everyone here today, in this difficult time, in this hurting, in this pain, in this grief, turn to God, and He will pull you through it. He will be by your side. I read an article in the Denver Post about a man that lost his 9-year-old son. He said he made a point every day of going to his son's grave and just sitting there and having lunch with him. He said it didn't matter if it was 100 degrees out or 10 below zero. He sat right there and had lunch with his son. And he said one day he just got ticked. And he looked up at heaven and he said, God, why did you take that 9-year-old boy? He said nothing happened. So he took one fist and he shook it at heaven and he said, God, you don't understand. I need to know. Nothing happened. Took both fists, he shook it at heaven, and he said, God, I'm demanding an answer right now. And he said it was almost instantaneous. A bird flew over and made a dropping on his head. Said it made him furious. And then he realized God had given him his answer. I say to each and every one of you here today, as hard as this is, as painful as this is, you're going to be back here again. There'll be another loss. It may be a friend. It may be a family member. But what you must do is remember that God is with you through everything. I asked the family if I could have a rose today. I want you to think of this rose as Andre. The fragrance is beautiful. The petals are soft and tender. May have a few thorns in it, but we're not all perfect. But I want you to pretend that this is Andre. While Andre was here with you, Andre shared his petals with every person in this room. I don't know what that petal was. It may have been one of those hugs that I've heard so many people talk about. It may be one of his jokes. It may be one of his memories. I don't know what he gave you. And I'll ask the family to share these petals with everyone here today. But now Andre's gone. The petals are still here. What I want to say to each and every one of you today, don't waste his petals. Share them with everyone you know. Share them with everyone you come in contact. And as you grieve, honor Andre by grieving from the strong side and not the weak. We will now have another song in honor of Andre.
be a day when things change, and it won't be all that bad. I won't be there to block the rain, to give you the love you won't say. Don't forget about the good times we shared. Never let those eyes shed no tears. Don't be scared to go on living your life, just because I'm not here. And the sun will still come up in the morning, still go back down at night. And the days may seem a little darker, but I promise they're just as bright. Close your eyes, breathe in, and you'll see that it's okay when tomorrow starts without me. Tell the kids that their daddy loved them. Tell them I did the best I can, and I know you'll take good care of them, 'cause with you they could not be in better hands. And when you call them to tell them the news, if it seems like they're feeling low, I'ma need you to stand real strong. Please make sure that they know that the sun will still come up in the morning, still go back down at night. And the days may seem a little darker, but I promise they're just as bright. Close your eyes, breathe in, and you'll see that it's okay when tomorrow starts without me. And the sun will still come up in the morning, still go back down at night. And the days may seem a little darker, but I promise they're just as bright. Close your eyes, breathe in, and you'll see that it's okay when tomorrow starts without me. When tomorrow starts